So, my friend, I want to ask you, have you been listening to some of my podcasts for a while and identified for yourself all the areas that you feel your business could be better in? Maybe you just are so busy you haven't yet mastered the working as much as you like bit. Or maybe you're just not bringing in the money, like you're struggling with the income, or it's just not enough. Well, it's time for us to have a conversation. In the show notes, there is a link to my evolution call. If you're a dance boss and you are ready to take action, let's have a chat and let's see where I can take you. Welcome, lovelies, to the Ultimate Dance Business Podcast. My name is Deborah Laws, the dance business expert. My passion is to help you turn your passion into profit while guiding you to work less and earn more. I'm super excited to share interviews with you that I know will inspire and motivate you in your schools, as well as my solo shows where I shall be sharing some great tips and strategies. So if you love the show, please do remember to review, subscribe, and share it with your fellow dance boss friends. So let's get stuck into the business of dance. Today, I thought I would talk to you about some worst case scenarios. I know that sounds a little bit doom and gloom, but I'm talking predominantly about our shows or recitals or concerts, depends where you are in the world and what you call them, but basically your yearly or bilingually big performances that you do. So this kind of worst case scenario that I thought we would have a little chat about today is what happens if something happens to you and you can't be there on the day, the weekend of your big performance, or maybe the few weeks leading up to it as well. Because just for a second, and I really don't like to sit in any kind of negative energy ever, but just for a brief second, I want you to just close your eyes and just think about right now, as things are and the way I've set things up, if I wasn't there, say the 3 weeks leading up to the show and over the show weekend, what would happen? Like, what would actually happen if something happened and I couldn't be there? Now, for some of you, you may have gone a little bit hot and cold. Maybe you started to breathe heavily. Maybe it made you feel a bit anxious. Maybe you thought, oh my gosh, the whole thing would literally fall apart if I wasn't there. In which case, today's podcast is for you. So let's just imagine that something has happened. You are ill, you are poorly, there's a family emergency, you need to fly to the other side of the world to look after somebody. I don't know. Let's just assume the worst. You've put months of thought, time, creation, effort, energy, and money into this performance. People are expecting the show to go on. People are expecting to see their children and their friends on stage. They've bought tickets. You've paid for theaters. Like, it doesn't bear thinking about the thought of ever canceling the show. In fact, the only time this has potentially ever happened to any of us was obviously during the pandemic, when these things happened and people understood because crazy stuff was going on all around the world. But if it happened now, would people be quite so understanding? Probably not. I'm guessing you would have a plethora of unhappy parents, suppliers, teachers. Like, oh, it does just make you kind of want to shiver and go and crawl under a rock. So what are you doing to protect yourself from this potential, fingers crossed never happens, but potential occurrence that something could happen to you? Like, what do you have in place? Now, some of you might be sitting feeling very smug right now and thinking, Deborah, do you know what? My team would have my back. It's all in beautiful processes. Somebody could take over. Like, if I wasn't there, it would all go ahead as planned and normal and nobody would even notice. But some of you may be sitting here thinking, oh my, like it would be the end of the world if this happened. So let's be sensible, let's be more positive, and let's start to look at what could we do as our insurance policy? What could we do to safeguard us from the utter misery and catastrophe that would happen if you had to cancel your show because you couldn't be there? Well, the first thing I would say is everything to do with your show, from choosing the initial dates, the theme, which class are going to do which dance, what the costumes are going to be, right up to the final details, ordering the programs, booking the van to take the costumes to the theatre, buying your makeup packs, like whatever the beginning to the end looks like, the whole entire production should be written, videoed, documented, however you would do it that suits you, in some way, shape, or form, so that someone could access that and immediately take over if they needed to. Now, if you have got teachers that teach for you and maybe someone that helps you with some office admin, then obviously you would delegate to them. One would hope that they would pick up the pieces as long as they knew what to do and how to do it. They would step in for you. But if you're a one-man band, how do you do that? How do you delegate a whole bunch of stuff if it's just you running your school? Well, this is where you would look at potentially having a parent committee, a bit like the schools have a PTA, a Parent Teachers Association. Like, who could you have that's your little army of helpers, potentially a bit like having a team of teachers that would help you and could potentially step in if something happened. So whether you're a one-man band or you have plenty of teachers and administrators and office support, either way, we could set this up so that other people could help. So what we need is your whole entire show process in various formats. Now, if you're a very visual person and you're not someone that likes to write and create documents, all of this could be created in lots of little mini videos. You can use your free Zoom account. There's also another piece of software called Loom, like Zoom, but starting with an L, Loom. And you can create and record videos on there as well. You could also upload video to a YouTube channel and make it private. Like, there's various ways that you can record and house videos. But it could be lots of little 5-minute snippet videos on how to do this. What happens there? So if you're a very visual person, you could do it via video messages. Now, I would love to invite you to the Dance Business Conference, which is held in Birmingham in the UK. This is a wonderful 2-day event where you are going to listen to some incredible keynote speakers. You're going to do some workshopping. You're going to learn lots of new things around running your dance school. You're going to meet lots of exhibitors that have businesses that could be great for you to work with. But more importantly, we're going to make friends, we're going to have fun, and we're going to hang out together, all learning how to be inspired and motivated to run a better school. And of course, we also have the Gala Dinner Dance, which is the red carpet event of the year for dance school owners, where we present the Dance Business Awards. So if you would like to exhibit or sponsor the conference, if you would like to attend or enter the Dance Business Awards, then please go to www.dancebusinesssolutions.com, where you can buy your tickets, find out more information, and hopefully come join me on the 8th and 9th of August. See you there. If you are a person that likes to see things written down, then you could create documents, like literally a handbook for your show. This is how we find our chaperones. Here's the poster that goes on the wall. This is when we need the chaperones sheets, volunteers completed by. This is when we need to start applying for chaperone licenses. Literally a whole document just on your chaperone procedures, a whole document on the sign in and out procedures, a whole document on how the day of the dress rehearsal runs. I mean, you and I know the amount of work and the amount of detail and knowledge that goes into running a show, but it's no good if it's in your head. We've got to get it out of your head and down onto some kind of documented evidence so that other people can learn what's in your head and know what to do. So I had a mixture. I used a piece of software called Trello, Trello. It's completely free to use and enables you to create a project. So you have this thing they call boards. It's like a notice board. And then on the notice board, you put cards and lists, a bit like Post-it notes. But you can click on a Post-it note, go inside, and in there you can have loads of information. You can create a checklist. You can create a due by date. You can upload photos, videos, documents, links to websites. Like it's fabulous. A lot of people that are in my membership use Trello. So we have a show board for Trello, and I would have in there all the information that's in my head. Now, it's going to take you a couple of weeks to create all these processes, all these documents. But when you know you've done it well, is when you give a job to somebody that has never done the job before and you say, click on this box, read this information, or I'll print it out and give it to you. And you should know exactly how to do this one job just by all the information I've put into that document of evidence. We call these SOPs, SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures. And we need to create our SOPs for our show handbook. Now, each year, when you've created all these SOPs, and as I said, it does take several weeks, but when you've created them, every year when you go back to these SOPs, you use those to start the next year. And what you might find is there's a few things that need tweaking. Maybe you decided to do something a different way, or perhaps between last year and this year, someone suggested an even better way of doing a certain thing. So this document, this show handbook with all these SOPs inside it, will be like an organic document that just gets constantly updated every year until eventually it's so thorough and so clear that you could give any of these jobs to a 12-year-old and they would know how to do them. And then you can rest assured that everything that's in your head is now out of your head and into your company show handbook. The next thing we need to do is decide who would we delegate specific roles to that you currently undertake on the off chance that you couldn't be there, that something happened. So what is it that you do during the rehearsal weekend or the tech run? What is it that you do during the actual show concert weekend? And I want you to think to yourself, who could do this just as well as me if I gave them the right training? Because in an ideal world, what would be amazing is if your role when it comes to your performances and your shows is completely freed up so that you're just floating. Like I want you to be backstage, wandering around the classrooms, cheering the kids on, getting them excited, getting them motivated, checking everyone's happy. And then same thing backstage, making sure that all your backstage roles are all happy. They know what they're doing. You're showing your face. They're seeing you. Should they have a question, you're there, you're around. And then even more importantly, that you're out front, that people are seeing you when they arrive, that they're seeing you in the interval, that you're standing, chatting to parents, mingling, you're building connections, you're being there with your community. A lot of principals feel that their role should be backstage and not out front. My personal view is that you should actually be out front where you can actually go and talk to the people that have bought tickets, where you can talk to Granny and say, you must be so proud of little Emily. Like this is where you're building your company's brand, reputation. And this is where people get to speak to you and tell you how great they think you are. This is all important. It's important that they get to share that. If you've been in a theatre watching a show, especially an amateur show like ours, not a professional theatre, and people are blown away with how amazing you are. Having the opportunity to just say, that was amazing. Wow, you put on an incredible show. People like that. If you're nowhere to be seen, they don't get that opportunity and they go away just kind of bottling it all up and holding it into themselves. So the other great thing about you floating front and backstage and just being around is that you can then step in if an emergency happens. But likewise, if something happens and you can't even be there, the show will go on. The show will be fine. So today's episode, you may have listened to this today and thought, do you know what? This has been a great episode because I'm already that person. I'm already the person that just turns up and the show happens around me and I sit in the audience and I watch. And, this is exactly where I am. Or you may feel like you are so far away from being that principal right now that you can't even imagine how that could ever happen. Either way, for your own peace of mind, for the show will go on no matter what, and for the kind of safeguarding against huge nightmares if you had to cancel a show, I think it's important that you look at your processes to see how you can remove yourself. I hope that's been helpful for you today, everybody. Might not be something you can do immediately, but it could certainly be something for you to work towards in the future. I hope that's helped, and I look forward to seeing you on my next solo show. So, my friend, I want to ask you, have you been listening to some of my podcasts for a while and identified for yourself all the areas that you feel your business could be better in? Maybe you just are so busy you haven't yet mastered the working as much as you like bit. Or maybe you're just not bringing in the money, like you're struggling with the income, or it's just not enough. Well, it's time for us to have a conversation. In the show notes, there is a link to my Evolution call. If you're a dance boss and you are ready to take action, let's have a chat and let's see where I can take you. Hello and welcome, lovelies, to the Ultimate Dance Business Podcast. My name is Deborah Laws, the dance business expert. My passion is to help you turn your passion into profit while guiding you to work less and earn more. I'm super excited to share interviews with you that I know will inspire and motivate you in your schools, as well as my solo shows where I shall be sharing some great tips and strategies. So if you love the show, please do remember to review, subscribe, and share it with your fellow dance boss friends. So let's get stuck into the business of dance.